الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, to proceed, we just need to complete the last sentence from the previous section because that was missing from our last lesson. And you know why, Ya Namal Haq? Because it switched off. So just to quickly complete that from Wadaraba.
Wadaraba Ibrahim.
Wadaraba
Ibrahim al-Asnama.
Ibrahim
Asnama.
Al-Asnama.
Asnama, yes.
Al-Asnama بالفأس وكسر الأسنام
وترك إبراهيم السلام
وترك
إبراهيم السلام
إبراهيم
السلام
السنم
الأكبر
سنم
الأكبر
أكبر وعلق الفأس
في عنقه
الفأس
في عنقه
في عنقه وعلق. حسنا. وضرب إبراهيم الأصنام. What type of sentence is this, Ya Namal Haq? الجملة الفعلية beginning with a فعل ضرب, which is فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. ضرب meaning
he hit it.
He hit. Ibrahim is the فاعل وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. and الأصنام is the مفعول به and علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. So the meaning of وضرب إبراهيم الأصنام is
Ibrahim hit the idols.
Right, Ibrahim عليه السلام, he struck the idols بالفأس. B is harfu jar. It indicates al-musahaba with. Al-fa's means the X. So we have harfu jarrin and then we have the majroor and it becomes bil-fa'si, and we say that bil-fa'si is muta'alliqani, connected with daraba. Because it's a thing he struck with. So as it's muta'alliqani. Muta'alliqani means those two are connected because we have harfu jar and ismu majroor. We have two things here, remember. We said that that is connected to daraba. Then we have wa, which is harfu isti'nath, to continue the text. Wa kasara al-asnama. Kasara is
broke.
He broke. فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. The fa'ilun here is
assumed.
Not assumed, it's mustatir. Mustatir meaning hidden. تقديره. Well, yes, sorry, you're correct. It is assumed. تقديره is
assumed. The other one.
No, what do we assume the fa'ilun to be here?
وكسرها. Oh.
No, ha, kasara. Huwa.
So here.
Right? Kasara huwa al-asnama. And al-asnama is the maf'ulun bihi. مفعول به وعلامة نسبه الفتحة الظاهرة Right? You need to get used to that. Al-fathata al-dhahira. Al-fathatu al-dhahira. Because that's what it is, isn't it? It's a dhahira. As opposed to muqaddara. Right? Here, the fa'ilun is taqdiruhu huwa. But we say it is al-muqaddaru, assumed. Right? وَتَرَكَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ. Taraka we know means
He left.
he left. Ibrahim is the fa'ilun, again as in Ibrahim above. As-sanama is maf'ulun bihi. And alamatu nasbihi al-fatha al-dhahiratu ala akhirih. Al-akbar here is the
Sifa of the
right. It's sifatun or na'atun. Right? Sifatun or na'atun, it's an attribute or a description of as-sanama. Wa'allaqa, again, waw al-istinaf to continue the story. Wa'allaqa,
he put.
wa'allaqa, he placed or he hung.
Yeah.
Al-fa'sa, al-fa'sa, which is the
Maf'ulun bihi.
maf'ulun bihi. So the fa'ilun is
Again is huwa.
huwa, taqdiruhu huwa, because it's mustatir. Fi unuqihi. Unuqun means neck. Fi unuqihi means
Its neck.
his neck, referring to
As-sanama.
right, as-sanama al-akbara. So the complete translation of this is therefore from wadaraba.
And Ibrahim hit the idols with the axe and broke the idols and left.
And Ibrahim left.
And Ibrahim left the big idols.
Right, the largest idol. Remember, sanam is now singular.
Singular. Largest idols and put
Wa'allaqa,
put the
and
axe,
hung
hung the axe fi unuqi,
fi unuqihi, right,
his neck.
and his neck. So we have a series of sentences which are all jumlatul fi'liyya, which is straightforward, insha'Allah. So to continue therefore on the next section, we begin with
Man fa'ala hadha.
Man fa'ala hadha. Man fa'ala hadha. Right, so man is who? But it is ismu istifhamin. Right? There shouldn't be a hamza on here. It is ismu istifhamin. Ismu istifhamin. Ismu istifhamin means a noun of. Istifhamun means to ask.
Ask questions.
Yes. Right?
So,
Any time you have a fi'lun, this is the 10th form that begins with alif, sin and ta. It means to seek something. The root here is fahima. Right? Istifham is from fahima. Fahima means
understood.
he understood. So if you're seeking to understand, right, that's called istifhamun. And ismu istifhamin is the ismun of seeking to understand. That's why we use it to introduce a question. Man fa'ala. Fa'ala means
Something happened.
he did. Hadha we know is ismu isharatin. So, man fa'ala hadha is a correct sentence.
Yeah.
Right? How do we know it's a correct sentence? Because a sentence can be of one or two types, either al-jumlatul fi'liyyah or al-jumlatul ismiyyah. It's not al-jumlatul fi'liyyah because it begins with man. And man is?
Questions word.
It's ismu istifhamin. So therefore it's not al-jumlatul fi'liyyah, and therefore it must be
Jumlatul ismiyyah.
al-jumlatul ismiyyah. So we know that al-jumlatul ismiyyah comprises of two parts. Man therefore is the
Al-mubtada.
good, yeah, annam al-haq. Man is al-mubtada'u. Therefore al-khabaru is
Rest of them.
right. Fa'ala hadha. Now we know that al-mubtada'u and al-khabaru are both marfu'un.
Marfu'un.
Both of them are marfu'un. So how do we explain or describe the i'rabun of both man and fa'ala hadha? We said that man is the, we know it's the mubtada'un,
Yeah, mubtada.
right? It's the mubtada'un. But we can't say alamatu raf'ihi al-dammatu al-dhahiratu al-akhiri, can we?
No.
Why?
Because it's not.
Because it's not there, is it? Man is mabniyun ala-sakoon.
Yeah.
It's always a man.
Man, yeah.
So we can't say that it is alamatu raf'ihi al-dammatu al-dhahiratu al-akhiri. So what do we say? We say
The second one.
not the second one, the third one, which is fi
في
mahalli raf'in.
في محل رفع.
Right? Man, so we said that man is mabniyun ala sakoon fi mahalli raf'in.
ممنوع الصرف. No.
No, mubtada'un.
مبتدأ. Yeah.
Right? Similarly, fa'ala hadha. We can't say that is alamatu rafi ad-dammah. So we say fa'ala hadha is fi mahalli raf'in
in
al-khabaru.
خبر.
Isn't it? Fa'ala hadha is al-khabaru. Right? Remember that. It's just another aspect to remember than to explain, because grammatically these are both marfu'un, except that they're not marfu'un lafzi.
لفظية.
They're marfu'un mahalli.
محلية.
Right, min fa'ala hadha. So the first part of min fa'ala hadha is
ورجع
ورجع
الناس ودخلوا في البيت الأسنان.
ورجع الناس
ودخلوا
في
بيت الناس.
في
السلام.
في بيت
الأسنان.
السلام. حسنا. ورجع الناس. رجع is
Returned.
yes, يعني الحق. It means he returned, but it is a
فعل.
فعل ماض مبني على الفتح, right?
زائدة.
Right. الناس is
فاعل.
the فاعل, right? وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. So ورجع الناس means
and people returned.
the people returned.
Yeah.
I missed the ودخلوا. دخلوا means
Entered.
they, plural male, entered.
Yeah. The
Right?
blue part, yeah.
دخلوا. Now here دخلوا is a fi'lun too, isn't it? Fi'lun madin.
ماضي.
Mabniyun, what is it mabniyun ala upon? It's mabniyun upon the dhammah,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Why is it mabniyun upon the dhammah when if it was dakhala, then we say it's mabniyun ala al-fathi, don't we?
Yeah.
Here it's mabniyun ala al-fathi, here it's mabniyun ala dhammi. Why? Li, because as the grammarians say, litisalihi bi waw al-jama'a. That waw represents al-jama'atu.
Lots of.
The group, isn't it? Because we said it's plural. So because دخلوا, or rather دخلوا is مبني على الضمة as opposed to دخل which is مبني على الفتح. This is مبني على الضمة لاتصاله means because it's connected. اتصل means he connected. It's also used to refer to yes, speaking, contacting. So you say اتصلت به or اتصلت عليه or اتصلني or rather اتصل بي or اتصل علي. So we say لاتصاله be, it's connected be to what? This waw. This waw is called waw al-jama'a.
Plural waw.
Yeah, the waw which is plural, right? لاتصاله بواو الجماعة. في is حرف جر. في بيت is في بيتي على الصنام me. So بيت is the
بيت الأصنام.
not you think يا نمو الحق, it is, isn't it? There wouldn't be any other reason why الأصنام is مجرور except if it was مضاف إليه. So we say في بيت الأصنام. Right? وَدَخَلُوا فِي بَيْتِ السَّنَامِ. So now يا نمو الحق, أين المفعول به? We have دخلوا, oh sorry, I missed something very important. وَدَخَلُوا, the fa'ilun here is the waw. The fa'ilun in دخلوا is al-waw. That represents the fa'ilun. Right? So we have the fi'lun and the fa'ilun. Then we have في بيت الأصنام. فأين المفعول به?
بيت الأصنام.
Right. It's في بيت الأصنام. في بيت الأصنام. So how do we explain the i'rab of في بيت الأصنام? What's its state? Because the maf'ul bihi is ordinarily mansubun.
Should be mansub because of fi and the idafa is made ladha.
Yes, but it's in the position, remember, fi mahalli nasbin, maf'ulun bihi. Right? Hasanan. Then we have, after al-asnami, وأراد الناس أن يسجدوا
للأصنام
لأنه
يوم العيد.
أنه يوم عيد. حسنا. وأراد, and أراد means
intent. He intended.
Right, intended or wanted. Right? This is the past of uridu.
Yeah.
Right? Which is al-mudari. Arada an-nasu. What does this mean? Arada an-nasu.
The people wanted.
The people wanted. Very common. Arada is a very common verb. But note that it is weak. Naqis.
Because of the alif.
Right, twice. So, arada is he wanted. How do you say I wanted?
Aradtu.
Aradtu, hasanan. You wanted single male. Aradta, you wanted single female. Aradti, you want a plural male.
Aradtum.
You want a plural female.
Tunna.
They wanted plural male.
Aradtu.
Aradu.
Sorry, not Aradu.
They wanted plural female.
Aradu as well.
No. Aradna.
Oh, Aradna.
Aradna. We wanted. أردنا.
Another mad there.
Yes. Right. وأراد الناس أن is حرف نسب. Right. وأراد الناس أن يسجدوا. يسجدوا. Why do we say يسجدوا? Rather, what does يسجدوا mean?
Prostrate.
They, plural male, are prostrating from sajada.
Yeah. فعل مضارع.
Right. فعل مضارع. Why is it not يسجدون as it would be ordinarily? It should be يسجدون, right? يكتبون, يسجدون, يأكلون, يقرؤون, يدرسون, يجلسون. So, but why is it يسجدوا يا علم الحق?
Because of an made it.
An.
Mansub.
An makes it منصوب. Right? ينصب, remember. أن ينصب الفعل المضارع. Right? وعلامة نصبه. This is a good question. ما هي علامة نصبه? What's the indicator that يسجد is منصوب?
Because the U.
No, not because of the U, ya Anamul Haq. We mentioned this in our previous lesson. Yes. Juduna. Yasjuduna is the fa'ilun, right? Yasjuduna.
Yeah.
Right. So, therefore, yasjuduna in its normal state, what is this? Marfu'un, mansubun, or majrurun?
Mansub.
Not mansub.
Sorry. It's marfu.
Marfu'un.
Yeah.
وعلامة رفعه. The indicator علامة رفعه is
Dhamma.
not the which dhamma.
Fatha.
No, yeah, it's always with a fatha
Oh yeah, because
on the noon. It's ithbatun nuni. Remember, ithbatun nuni means to affirm the noon. Right? Affirming the noon is the indicator of it being marfu'un. Therefore, if we remove it and we place in its position the alif for the purpose of orthographics or writing, what state is it now in? It's either mansubun or majrurun. Sorry, not majrurun. It's either mansubun or majzumun. It can't become majrurun. Right, so we say that alamatu nasbihi is hadfun nuni. Hadfun nuni means erasing the noon. Right? If alamatu rafi is ithbatun nuni, it must mean that alamatu nasbi is hadfun noon. Right? And similarly, if it was a majzumun, then the indicator for it being majzuma is removing the noon. You understand?
Yeah.
Right? وأراد الناس يسجدوا للأصنام. Li is حرف جر للأصنام. So what does it mean from وأراد إلى للأصنام?
The people wanted to prostrate idols. This idol.
To the idols.
Sorry, yeah.
Right? So sajada, in order for it to affect an object, it requires a wasitatun, it requires an intermediary, which in this instance is the lam. Right? So the people wanted to prostrate to the idols لأنه يوم عيد. يا علم الحق, what does that mean? لأنه يوم عيد. لأن means Because
the day of Eid.
Because it يوم عيد.
Yeah, because the who it يوم عيد.
Right? لأنه يوم عيد. Now لأن, remember, لأن is from إن وأخواتها. Right? إن وأخواتها. And we know that إن and أن and لأن and لعل and later, they all comprise of two parts, right?
Yeah.
Which are ismu inna and khabaru inna. So the ismu inna here is, and it's always marfu'un, the the damirun muttasilun.
Refer to the.
Okay, the damirun muttasilun. Referring to the day. Right? لأنه. So again, we remember that the ismu inna is always marfu'un. This isn't marfu'un, even though it's got a dhamma on it. It's always in that state, remember. So we say fi mahalli raf'in. Yawmu idin, therefore, is the, well actually, yawmu is the khabar. Khabaru li'anna. And the sorry, no. The ismu inna is always mansubun. Remember, the khabaru inna is marfu'un. Right? Mansubun marfu'un. So yawmu eid, yawmu is a khabaru li'anna and idin, and it's mudafun, and idin is mudafun ilayhi. So from what arada to yawmu idin, it means
The people wanted to prostrate the idol to the idols in the day of Eid.
Because it's
the day of Eid. Yeah.
Right, and then ولكن تعجب الناس ودهشوا. There are lots of useful verbs here. دهشوا. ولكن تعجب الناس ودهشوا. حسنا. ولكن is called a harf istidrak. But. تعجب. What does تعجب means?
I need to write down.
تعجب means that he was surprised. Right? تعجب. Right? Amazed, surprised. تعجب. تعجب means he was surprised, she was surprised is تعجبت. I was surprised is تعجبت. You were surprised is تعجبت, and so on and so forth. So
that part is that part of the verb.
Yes.
No, the other part, like you.
No, because that would be at the end.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't be. It's not. Yeah. تعجب. تعجب الناس ودهشوا. دهشوا means amazed too.
Amazed.
Right?
Okay.
It's a synonym or muradifun. It has the same meaning. ولكن تعجب الناس ودهشوا. And then we have وتأسف.
الناس.
تأسف.
الناس. وغضبوا.
وتأسف الناس وغضبوا. غضبوا. Again, تأسف. تأسف means angry in a sorrowful way, right? تأسف الناس وغضبوا. So we know what غضبوا means, right? Angry. تأسف الناس وغضبوا. So this sentence therefore means
ولكن تعذب الناس ودهشوا. But
no, غضبوا. وتأسف الناس, so the people were angry. وغضبوا and angry. Right?
Angry, yeah.
But remember that تأسف has another element of being you're sorry and angry. Whereas غضبوا is you're angry. حسنا. And then it goes on to وقالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا إنه لمن الظالمين. The ayah in Surah Al-Anbiya. Ya animal haq. Now, so the other point to note here, of course, is that in these sentences, the last two, تعجب and تأسف are mentioned in the singular third person male. Yeah. Right? Al-Ghaib it's called. Third person. Then after mentioning the fa'ilun, the fi'lun is in the
male, plural male.
Plural male. Why? Because it now has to match the
nasu.
It has to match a nasu.
Yeah.
Right? Because nasu that's who it's referring back to.
Plural male.
Or rather, the dahishu, the waw of al-jama'a, and dahishu and ghadibu are referring to an-nasu, which is plural. An-nasu is plural, singular is al-insanu. Right, so yanam al-haq. We know the meaning, we know the individual words, and now what you need to do is read it and change it from third person to first person. Obviously you're going to omit the fa'ilun because you're the fa'ilun.
Yeah, insan.
Right? So from raja'a.
Wa raja'tu.
No.
Al-insanu.
No, you don't need to mention that. Now, of course it wouldn't make sense, would it? Right. Wa raja'tu.
Wa raja'tu.
What?
ودخلت
ودخلت
في البيت
في البيت الأصنام. Right, of course, you don't want to say وأردت أن أسجد للأصنام because that's كفر. So say, we'll change this to you wanted, speaking to somebody who is a mushrik. So change it to the second person, singular male. وأردت أن
تسجد للأصنام لأنه
يوم عيد.
ولكن
تعجبت speaking to single male. تعجبت
yeah.
دهشت وتأسفت
وغضبت.
حسنا وغضبت. ثم after that we have the ayah in Surah Al-Anbiya. وقالوا
سمعنا.
No, first, before that, وقالوا
من فعل هذا.
Right. وقالوا من
فعل
هذا
Ba.
B.
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 Hati.
That there shouldn't be an alif there. بآلهتنا. من فعل هذا ب
Ali.
آلهتنا. Actually, the ayah continues in Surah Al-Anbiya. إنه لمن الظالمين. Right? The actual ayah is قالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا إنه لمن الظالمين. But it's not mentioned in the text. حسنا وقالوا. قالوا is
He said.
not he said يا نم الحق. They said plural male. Look, the waw al-jama'a.
Wa in the Madeenah.
Right? So it's مبني على الضمة. قالوا مبني على الجمع على الضمة لاتصاله بواو الجماعة. من فعل هذا. Well, you know now that man is اسم استفهام. فعل هذا.
Who did?
He did هذا this. B حرف جر. آلهتي.
Nah.
Na. آلهة means gods. Plural of ilahun. Alihatina means
Our God.
our gods.
Gods.
Right? So, if we say alihati, now because this is ismu majrurin, it's the ismun that follows the harfu jarrin, and the na is damir muttasilun, is connected to alihatina. And that too is mudafun ilayhi. Right? في محل جر. It's in the position of being jar because na is damir muttasil mabniun ala fatha. It's always na. Hasana. وقالوا, and they said. So قالوا is the fi'lun. So normally we look for the
Fa'il.
the fa'ilun is here, the waw.
Yeah.
And then we look for the
Maf'ul.
maf'ulun bihi. Hasanan. Aina al-maf'ulu bihi. Where is the maf'ulun bihi? Man fa'ala hadha bi'alihatina. Remember, it's maqulul qawli. The maf'ulun bihi that follows a fi'lun that represents saying, such as qala and saha, he cried, is called maqulul qawli. And the maqulul qawli, because it is in the position of the maf'ulun bihi, what state must it be in?
Maf'ul bihi always mansub.
Mansubun. But man fa'ala hadha bi alihatina itself is what type of sentence? Jumlatul ismiyya, because it tabda'u bi man, which is ismu istifhamin. Therefore, man fa'ala hadha bi alihatina is what was said. That is the sentence that was uttered by the waw, right? The fa'ilun. And therefore we say it is maqul al-qawli fi mahalli nasbin. Fi mahalli nasbin. Even though we don't represent it as being mansubun by a fatha, because it's a sentence. حسنا. ثم after وقالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا.
قالوا سمعنا.
قالوا
سمعنا.
سمعنا. سمعنا. فتى
يذكرهم.
فتى
يذكرهم
يذكرهم
يقال له إبراهيم
يقال له يقال له إبراهيم. Right. قالوا we know فعل ماض مبني على ضمة لاتصاله بواو الجماعة. And this is the next ayah.
Yeah, next time.
قالوا سمعنا. سمعنا means we use this verb سمع all the time.
All the time. He watched.
What?
He looked. Some.
No, that's أبصرنا.
Listen.
Heard.
Heard, yeah.
Right? سمعنا. We heard.
Heard, yeah.
فتى. سمعنا فتى. What does فتى mean? A youth.
A youth.
Right? Al-Fatu means the youth or فتى. حسنا سمعنا فتى يذكرهم. يذكرهم. يذكر means
Remember.
or mentioning.
Mentioning. He mentioned.
يذكرهم. He mentions them, referring to
Nasu.
الناس,
The idols.
the idols.
Right.
يقال له. يقال. Now, we're going to have to speak more about this type of a verb because يقال means it was said.
Right.
Or rather, no, because that's past. It is said.
Right.
يقال, don't confuse يقال with يقول. يقول. Right? يقال and يقول. يقول means
He says.
he says.
Saying.
Right? So you say, for example, يقول الولد أنا حاضر. The boy said, I am present. Or the boy says, I am present. يقول, present tense. This, in English, it's the difference between the active and the passive.
Yeah.
Right? يقال, they say it is مبني على الضمة للمجهول. للمجهول means it's unknown who said it. Right? And the way that it's formed, as you can see, is with a dhamma on the first harf. So here it's يقول, there it's يقال. It's like in the well-known ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, كتب عليكم الصيام. الصيام عليكم. كتب عليكم الصيام, which means الصيام, fasting, كتب, has been prescribed, made obligatory upon you. Right? That is different, completely different to saying كتب عليكم الصيام. If we were to say كتب عليكم الصيام, look at the difference. الصيام here is يا عالم الحق. الصيام here, what state is it in? مرفوع. الصيام here is منصوب. And of course that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because kataba is we know usually it means he wrote. But there's another meaning to kataba. He prescribed, to make something obligatory. Kataba, he prescribed, meaning Allah Azza wa Jalla, alaykum, upon you. What did he prescribe upon you? As-siyama. As-sawm, or the fasting, which is maf'ulun bihi. Right? But when the fi'lun is mabniyun lil majhuli, meaning the doer is unknown, then what happens is that here as-siyamu becomes the fa'ilun, right, which is why it becomes marfu'un. But it's not actually the fa'ilun, it's called na'ibul fa'il. But this is a subject that we'll discuss more of, inshallah. Na'ibul fa'il. Na'ibun means the deputy. You know, when somebody is absent and they appoint a deputy, Na'ibul fa'ili. Well, this is what's happened here. In kutiba, the doer has not been mentioned. So, what would ordinarily be the maf'ulun becomes na'ibul fa'il, the one who takes that position. But that's a subject that we will discuss, inshallah ta'ala, more of in our future lessons. Here we have yuqalu lahu Ibraheem. Right? قالوا سمعنا فتى يذكرهم يقال له إبراهيم. So first of all, simply, this is another jumlatun that is a fi'liya that begins with a verb that indicates to speak, to pronounce words. Therefore, we're going to look first for the maqul al-qawli, what was said, which is sami'na fatan yadhkuruhum yuqalu lahu Ibrahim, right? So all of that is maqul al-qawli, and it's going to be fi mahalli nasbin, ya anum al-haq, fi mahalli nasbin, right? From sami'na up to Ibrahim. The other point to note here is the maqul al-qawl itself. It begins with sami'na. Sami'na means we heard. What did we hear? Fatan. This fi'lun, not fi'lun, this ismun. Sorry?
Fatan ismun, yeah.
This ismun ends with alif al-maqsura. Fatan. Like that. And of course, alif al-maqsura, it cannot take a haraka. We say غير متحركة. It can't take a vowel. Right? So we assume it to be there. We assume the tanween fatin to be on the end. Because fatan here is the maf'ulun bihi of sami'na. Right? Fatan. Then we have yadhkuruhum. Yadhkuruhum is a sifatun. Remember in our previous lesson we mentioned that a sifatun can comprise of both an ismun and also a jumlatul fi'liya. So this fatan, this youth, yadhkuruhum, he would mention them. So his act of mentioning them becomes a sifatun of him. Right? So that we said that this is the first na'at, or na'at al-ula, and then yuqalu lahu Ibrahim is the second sifatun or na'atun of fatan. Right? Yuqalu lahu Ibrahim. So the ayah means they said we heard a youth mentioning them. It is said, yuqalu lahu, it is said about him, Ibrahim, meaning his name is Ibrahim. Right? And then the next ayah we have قالوا أأنت فعلت قالوا أأنت فعلت فعلت هذا بآلهتنا
يا إبراهيم
بآلهتنا يا إبراهيم. Of course, there's no question mark in the ayah, but after that ayah, سَمِعْنَا فَتًى يَذْكُرُهُمْ يُقَالُ لَهُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ, the next ayah is actually in Surah Al-Anbiya, فَأْتُوا بِهِ عَلَىٰ أَعْيُنِ النَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَشْهَدُونَ. That ayah is missing from the text. So the next ayah is actually فَأْتُوا بِهِ عَلَىٰ أَعْيُنِ النَّاسِ. Go and bring him in front of the people. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَشْهَدُونَ. So لَعَلَّهُمْ, so in order that they can يَشْهَدُونَ, witness it. Right? Then when he was brought to them, قالوا, they said أأنت. Okay, this is Hamzatul Istifham. So man is Ismul Istifham. أأنت, remember the Hamza is there. Right? The Alif is just a means of accommodating the Hamza. So we say it's Hamzatul Istifham. Hamzatul Istifham, Anta.
Question.
Anta is
You.
Anta. Damirun munfasilun, you, single male. Right? And therefore it's also what type of sentence? Anta.
جملة الاسمية.
حسنا يا عالم الحق. جملة الاسمية. Anta. And therefore it's al-khabaru. Sorry, not al-khabru. Al-mubtada'u. Anta fa'alta hadha. We know that fa'alta means you did.
You did, yeah.
Fa'alta is you did. Fa'alta hadha.
Broken things.
Right? This, referring back to the breaking. Bi'alihatina. With our idols. Ya Ibraheemu. Right? Ya Ibraheemu. So, أنت فعلت هذا. أنت is المبتدأ. فعلت هذا is الخبر. بآلهتنا is حرف جر and اسم مجرور along with the na, which is ضمير متصل في محل جر because it's مضاف إليه. يا is حرف نداء. حرف النداء. Actually it's حرف النداء because that's the nida for construct. Ibraheemu, ya Ibraheemu. Right? So, from Anta until ya Ibraheemu is therefore the مقول القول في محل نصب. Right? The next ayah will take longer to complete.
قال
قال بل فعله
كبيرهم هذا
كبيرهم
أسألهم إن كانوا.
قال بل فعله كبيرهم فاسألوه.
هذا مسألوه.
كبيرهم هذا فاسألوه
إن
فاسألوه
إن كانوا
إن كانوا ينطقون. نعم. ينطقون. قال, we know, means
He said.
he said. بل,
Ibrahim said.
بل, they say, is harful idrabi, which means, right, remember the context. قال وأنت فعلت هذا بآلهتنا يا إبراهيم. Did you do this to idols, O Ibrahim? قال بل. So bal negates what came after, before it. They say إضراب ما قبله والإثبات ما بعده. It negates what came before it, and its purpose is to affirm what will come after it. Right? So they are asking him, did you do this to idols? And he says no, because that's what in effect the meaning is. Bal, no, I didn't do this. فعله كبيرهم هذا. فعله كبيرهم هذا. The largest of them, فعله, did it. Did this. فاسألوه. فاسألوه. فاسألوه إن كانوا ينطقون. Right. فاسألوهم. It's not فاسألوه. فاسألوهم. فاسألوهم. That's not correct. فاسألوهم. فاسألوهم إن كانوا ينطقون. So what does this ayah mean? يَعْنَمُ الْحَقِّ فاسألوهم إن كانوا ينطقون. فاسألوهم إن كانوا ينطقون. So ask them إن كانوا ينطقون, if they ينطقون can speak, or if they speak, right? So that's the meaning of this ayah. قال بل, he said rather فعله, he did it, كبيرهم. كبيرهم. So the fa'ilun here is كبير, right? Hum is ضمير متصل في محل جر مضاف إليه. كبيرهم هذا. هذا is al-badalu. فاسألوهم, so you plural male ask. فعل أمر, that's a command form. Ask them. Hum is the مفعول به. إن كانوا ينطقون, if
they can't speak.
They can speak. This ayah, we'll have to spend more time on it in our next lesson, inshallah, because it contains many grammatical issues. So, are there any questions there for you, Anam al-Haq?
I know the meaning of the thing, what is called, well, I can't break down this.
Which one?
Oh, it's called the other sentence. غفر لكم ما تقدم من ذنبه. I know He'll forgive your past sins. So if I break down, I can't break down single meaning.
Okay.
Probably the state and things like that.
Hasanan. We'll mention it in our next lesson, inshallah, and perhaps the others will benefit too. So we'll conclude. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.